Close your eyes and imagine living a life you love, unapologetic and unbothered, free from daily microaggressions from Karens and Kens, free from the fear of police brutality and systemic racism. Wouldn't that feel amazing? Now open your eyes. What if I told you that it's possible? Hear inspiring stories and get the actual blueprints from brothers and sisters of the diaspora who are living out their wildest dreams abroad. You've heard the term, now be inspired by the movement. I'm Krishan Wright, and this is Blaxit Global. Welcome to the Season 2 finale of the Blaxit Global podcast. This has been an incredible season. And if you think about the content and the stories that I've featured during this season, you'll see a thread. And at the time that I was planning out season 2, I didn't really see how much this would be relevant to what I'm going through today. So the common thread and focus of season 2 has been wellness in many phases. It's been wellness in terms of mental health. So people who have found a peace and calm through moving abroad and change of scenery, change of pace that has then opened up the ability to be more mindful. Wellness in terms of financial wellness. And we've talked about that in a few episodes. We've also delved into physical wellness and transformation. And for me, it was during my conversation with Tamika Gentles that I really made the decision to focus on my wellness this year. So to give you a little bit of background, I am a digital marketer by profession, and I really was in a season towards the end of 2019, in the beginning of 2020, where I was starting to really feel the effects of my previous work. And it really culminated, unbeknownst to me, in 2020, with all the things that 2020 was, in some bad habits, some really bad habits. I actually shared it recently. Episode 100 of the Black Women Travel podcast. I recently sat down with Wanda Duncan. And in that episode, I talked about, what was going on with me. And so I was pouring my heart and soul into the podcast, but also, doing some things unconsciously. Going to the store, I guess consciously, right? Going to the store, buying 4 pints of ice cream, and I would devour it in a week. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, loading up on Biscoff cookies because that was, something I looked forward to when I would get on an airplane. There were times in the beginning of the pandemic where, I was stockpiled, alcohol. And so all these bad habits started to, creep up. And with that was the weight gain. And so it was easy to kind of mask with the lives and everything because it's like, people are only seeing me from the waist up. I'm in my sweats. I'm still comfortable, or in my pajamas during the day. And it was really when I found myself being more cognizant of the fact that I was sitting for an extended period of time, feeling some joint pain, and then even being winded walking up a flight of stairs in my home. And I just realized that something had to change. And the talk track in my head, I recognized that I was putting on weight. But again, when you're wearing comfy clothes and sweats all day, you don't really have to deal with that level of truth. And it was when I had the reality check and all of the pain and all of that started to creep up, it really was one of the things where I was like, well, you know what? I'll focus on my health when I move abroad, right? It'll be easier. I'm always more active, super active when I'm not in the States. And I made the excuse, oh, well, I'm in the Northeast. We have a short summer and winter's so prolonged. And I tend to put on weight in the winter. I believe in storing my fat. It's easier for me to lose weight in the summer months. That was not a good way of thinking and being. And so when I think about this journey, it was me meeting and having Deirdre on for my first guest, who then introduced me to Tamika, and then committing to the program in mid to late January. So now as I record this in June 13th, I am down 16 pounds. I am 1 pound away from my goal weight that I'd like to achieve for my birthday this year, which is June 27th, and about 9 or 10 pounds away from my wellness goal. It may go down, I may go down more, but the point here is that the physical transformation has been something I've marveled, just seeing my body start to change and, seeing muscles start to emerge and things like that. Things that literally I thought that, as I get closer to 50 than anything else, that I thought that was like something that was not going to be attainable or something that I would get to in 2 years. But what I wasn't expecting was this transformation in terms of my mind and really my mindset. So the different things for me is that I've been prioritizing my wellness every day. So I got an Apple Watch. I started going to an assisted stretch place every week and really seeing a change in my flexibility physically, and then even just my flexibility mentally. There have also been things that have been going on this year that has challenged me in different ways emotionally and has required me to flex in different ways. I've had a lot of loss as of late in these first 6 months of this year. A close neighbor, my friend's mother, my uncle, and now 2 cousins, the last one who passed yesterday. It's really challenged me, as well as a challenging season as it relates to my children and being there for them. And it's been a growth opportunity for me. One of the ways that I've been able to navigate this season has been through prioritizing my wellness. It's making sure that I don't miss a stretch. It's making sure that every day I go out and move my body. Whether I'm anxious, whether I'm feeling depressed, whether I'm disappointed, and there's been some of that's happened, travel plans that I had this year that weren't able to come to fruition. But then being a bright side optimist, I always have to look at the positives. And the positives have been, as I mentioned, the physical transformation, but the opportunity for me to face these issues while I'm still in the States. It's an opportunity for me to strengthen my bond with my children. It's an opportunity for me to delve into aspects of my own personality and being that may be maladaptive, and to really pull back the layers. And it's been a release in a lot of ways. I'm far from done. It's a work in progress, but at the same time, that's what life is. We are constantly unfolding as human beings on this planet, as spiritual beings inhabiting a human form and having an experience here. And so for me, that's really been the gift. So now I want to give you an update on my Blaxit journey. So a lot has changed. So there are more pathways that I have available for me to move abroad. But the biggest change, I would say, from where I was in 2020 to where I am now is that, my daughter expressed to me that she has some anxiety about me moving halfway around the world. So I have altered my plans, and I'm looking strongly at Costa Rica for at least the beginning of my journey. And so I feel and consider myself very fortunate in that respect because for my daughter to feel that she could come to me and express that just, filled my heart with joy. I did not feel disappointed in any way. I just saw it as a new opportunity for me to, delve into a different country, to learn, to explore. And so I'm excited. Costa Rica for me checked all the boxes. As you know, we have had conversations with expats in Costa Rica in season 1 as well as season 2. And so I had at least some beginning understanding, but in terms of what I'm looking for, and that is close proximity to the US, where my dollar can go further, strong healthcare and supportive infrastructure. It really checked the boxes. And of course, the Pura Vida life. So being able to lean into a more relaxed pace, I think really my spirit will light up with that. And so I've booked a ticket in October for my first exploratory. And so I've never been to Costa Rica before. This is a first. I always stress that people take time to do an exploratory. So what are the benefits of doing an exploratory? The exploratory will enable me to visit Costa Rica, and I'll be taking multiple trips. But this first one enables me to visit the country not as a tourist, not as someone who's vacationing, but someone who is seriously considering relocating to this country. That looks very different from a vacationer. So I will be looking at contacting realtors just to get names. I'm not going to waste anyone's time to look at properties when I'm still quite some time out, but being able to get a feel for neighborhoods, getting a feel for what lights me up. I'm a beach girl. And so, that is something that I enjoy in the warmer months, but I've never lived by a beach. So is that something that I'm going to like, or is that something that's just not for me? And do I need to be more in the mountains, in the jungles? I don't know. And so I want to give myself the time to familiarize myself with the culture. And in preparation for that, I'm also boning up on my Spanish. I took Spanish for about 8 years when I was in school, and I've gotten quite rusty over the years. And as I mentioned in season 1, I was, working on my French, and I'm still working on my French. I picked that back up, but I'm also leaning heavier on my Spanish. That will enable me to feel comfortable enough to communicate. And I still have a good command of the vocabulary, but I've never been quite comfortable speaking Spanish. And that is something that I think is a great opportunity for me to overcome. It was always something that would just get me a little anxious. And now having an opportunity to be able to be in a country and, be able to communicate and maneuver, I think that is just going to unlock so much. It's going to be a really great challenge in that respect. So I'm looking forward to taking you along with me on this journey and letting you know what I'm learning through the process, letting you in on some of the things that I'm researching, because these process steps will just enable you to be able to think about that as it relates to your own journey. And while I'm on the topic, special shout out to Whelp Magazine for including Blaxit Global in their list of 20 best process planning podcasts of 2021. I'll link to that in the show notes of this episode. So I'm really excited for this new stage and phase of my journey, as well as planning season 3. And it's shaping up to be an awesome season. We'll be launching that in the fall. And I look forward to bringing you more stories to elevate and amplify and inspire you on your journey. I'm also excited to relaunch my podcast marketing course, Beyond the Launch, Podcast Marketing for Success, where I help people plan their podcasts. And if you already have a podcast, to amplify and accelerate so that you can be successful and sustainable. So now that I'm back and I'm feeling more energized, I am looking forward to taking you along with me on this. I look forward in the interim to be enjoying some R&R, finally getting to see my mom for the first time during this quarantine, and just spending time to continue on this wellness journey and really lean into it, to feel what I need to feel and to really embrace this transformation. So I look forward to seeing you at some of our, if not all, of our Blaxit Global events. I'm also trying to do 1 or 2 in-person events for those of you who are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, super excited for the road ahead. So until next time, I wish you all well. Thank you for listening to the Blaxit Global Podcast. For more information on today's episode, be sure to visit our website at blaxitglobal.com. Has this episode left you feeling inspired to begin your journey, but not quite sure where to start? Download our free guide with the top 5 questions you need to ask before planning your Blaxit. You can find that under the resources tab of our website. Remember, it's not only possible to live out your dreams unbothered and in full color, it is your birthright. Are you trying to sort out health plans, banking, VPN, and other connectivity for your move abroad? Well, have no fear, we've got you with the Move Abroad Starter Kit. Get yours today at blaxitglobal.com/resources. That's blaxitglobal.com/resources.